Good afternoon, Stampers. It's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and I would like to thank you for stopping by today to my Facebook Live. And I'm going to be showing you today how to create 3 cards using the Hello Cupcake stamp set. And the only way that you can get this stamp set is for free. I'm going to tell you how in just a minute. Give me just a minute to set up my other feed here. All right, I think we're all set. Yep, we sure are. I'm trying out some new lighting today, so bear with me. I'm in my basement when I stamp, and it gets a little kind of overshadowed, so I've tried out a lot of different lighting. I've done some daylight lighting and try to have backlighting, front lighting, and it seems like I always just get a shadow. So I'm still working on that. I want you to know that I'm working to get it a little better clarity when we're filming here. So today, as I said, we're going to be using the Hello Cupcake stamp set. And again, this is a free stamp set. The only way that you can get it is free. You cannot buy it. Right now through the end of March, Stampin' Up has a special called Celebration, and when you purchase $50 you can get an item of your choice. And this is the catalog, and there are lots of items to choose from. And if you purchase $100, there are also some items. This is Tea Time Framelits that coordinates with one of the stamps in the catalog, and then this Lasting Lily also coordinates with one of the stamps in the catalog. Or sorry, that one does not coordinate with the stamp in the catalog, but this Tea Time does. So if you, at the end of our demonstration today, if you would like to make a purchase, you can visit my store. And I'm just going to put the host code up while I get ready real quickly here and set these aside. If you would like to receive the make and takes for the items that we're making today, all you have to do is make a purchase of $30 or more through my online store right here, stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net. Excuse me, and use this host code at checkout. Now, if you make a purchase of $30, you will get the make and take kits. Per Stampin' Up policy, I cannot stamp the cards, but I can send you all of the materials to make the cards, including the embellishments and the cardstock. If you make a purchase of $50, you will get to choose a free celebration item, and I will also send you the make and take projects. So let me show you what we're going to be making today. These are the 3 cards, and I thought I would use one of the celebration sets today because we haven't really shown a lot of, or I haven't shown a lot of samples, and I just realized the other day that I've been focusing on the Occasions catalog, but I also want to show you some really fun things out of this catalog. So these are the 3 cards that we're going to be making, and I'm trying to stick with the simple stamping and then a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and today they all kind of were a little bit simple. They didn't take a lot of layers, but I added a few layers to some. So I think that I'm going to start with this one right here, and actually this one, I'm in a random act of kindness group. I'll just talk to you while I'm getting ready here. And someone actually sent me this card. And I can't tell you who it is because she didn't sign the inside of the card. A lot of times when we're sending these random cards, we don't sign them so that people can use them again. And unfortunately, the person that sent it to me did not sign it. But I loved it so much, and I love the colors of it. So I thought that we would create this card today. All right, I'm getting all my stamps mounted here. The colors we're going to be using are Gorgeous Grape and Coastal Cabana and a little bit of Melon Mambo ink. So I'm going to grab the inks that I need. We're also going to use Gorgeous Grape ink and soft suede, and I do need a little piece of scrap paper here so we can do a little stamping off. All right, let's go through what you will need. I'm going to set this back out of the way. What you need for this card. You are going to need... Hi, Tracy. I saw that you just got on. Welcome. You're going to need a piece of Whisper White cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of Gorgeous Grape cut at 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of Coastal Cabana cut at 5 by 3 3/4. And a piece of Whisper White cut at 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. The other thing that you're going to need, as I said, some Gorgeous Grape ink, Melon Mambo ink, and Soft Suede ink, and then also some dimensionals. So let's get started. I'll show you how to create this card. First thing we're going to do is fold our base in half. I'm going to use the bone folder to secure that edge. And I can go ahead and put these 2 layers on because I'm not doing any stamping. You know that I usually recommend don't adhere anything if you're going to be stamping on it. That way you get a second chance. But these we are not doing any stamping on. So we'll just attach this in. It gives us a nice little frame of the 2 colors. And then here is our piece that we're going to be stamping. Oh, I forgot to grab the Coastal Cabana ink. All right. I think the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and stamp the cupcake liner. And I've shared with you before, it's really hard to stamp and not get your head in the way and still stamp straight. So hopefully I get this straight. I'm just going to open up my cleaner here so that I can clean as I go, and that way I don't get ink on anything. This little piece here, let me show you on the stamp set. This right here can be used to be able to see, you can see in the card here, you can kind of see the cake oozing out underneath the icing. So we're going to put some of that right here. Oops. Next, and I'm going to use Soft Suede for that. And you're just going to want to line it up. Oop, I had it upside down. Kind of on top of the liner there. And then I forgot to get my sprinkles and put those on a block, so I'm doing that now. The next thing we want to do is put our brown away real quick. We're going to stamp the cupcake, and we're going to do that with Melon Mambo ink. And I'm going to pull this off camera just a little bit because you have to line the edge of the cupcake up with the line of the cake piece that I just showed you. And I wanted to make sure and do that so it didn't leave a gap there. Next, we're going to use Gorgeous Grape. And this is what we're going to put our sprinkles on our cupcake with. And we're also going to need this little piece right here, just to make a little pick out of the side of the cupcake. There we go. Then the only thing we have left to do is to create or put on our sentiment. We're also going to use Gorgeous Grape for that. There you go. Celebrate your day. We're going to, let's go ahead and put the ink away so I don't end up having it on my project instead of where it needs to be. Put some dimensionals on the back. And I always put one in the middle just so if the card gets pushed down in the middle, it doesn't sink down in. You don't have to pull that dimensional off the center. Habit makes me do it, but you don't have to because the other 4 will hold it in place. So there we go. Card number 1. Isn't that adorable? And I really think this could be used for a male or a female. Even though it's got some pink on there, I think that it would be fine for either. All right, I'm going to bring my host code back while I get my rest of my stuff. The next one we are going to create is going to be this fun one. So this one uses a couple things. We are using this, I believe it's mini striped ribbon, and this is in Bermuda Bay. Is this Bermuda Bay? Oh my gosh, I need to look. I don't see. Oh, yep, it's Bermuda Bay. And we're using Coastal Cabana down here, but it matches well enough that I think you're not even going to notice a difference. This piece of paper is from the Sweets designer paper that's in the catalog, and I'm sorry I don't have the name because I pulled the backing out of it. I'm going to grab it real quick. We've used it previously, so this is the paper that it coordinates with, and I just pulled this little piece right here out of there. So what we need for this is a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and we cut that at 4 1/4 by 11. We're going to score that at 5 1/2, and I already did score that. We need a piece of designer paper that coordinates with our ribbon or our ink, whatever we want. And this is cut at 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then for this one, we do need the Big Shot. So I'm going to bring that up. And I'm going to try not to shake the table too much. We're also using a framelit from the Seasonal Layers framelits. That's the one with the, I believe there are snowflakes in there and there are leaves. There's this piece in there. Now you want to make sure you're going to feed this through because we're going to cut this end down here. And when I did this, I tried to do it a couple different ways. So you first of all want to be about 1 1/2 inches off this end so that you have enough room to stamp your greeting here. So you want to have it about 1 1/2 inches up. Then you want to, I'm hoping you can see this. So with the little scallops here, you kind of want to make sure there's even here and there. I tried to originally put it so one end had a scallop and one didn't, and this left a kind of a weird pointy edge over here. So then I redid it and kind of left equal distance on each side of these scallops, and that seemed to work better. This framelit is the whole width of the Big Shot, so you have to be real careful to get it on there perfectly or you'll bend the end of your framelit. And there's our card. So now we can just fold that piece in half. And we're going to go ahead and put adhesive on this. I know I normally say stamp first. I'm hoping this is not going to turn out badly. It's a small sentiment, and hopefully it just turns out just perfect. We need to get our ribbon. I'm going to tie the ribbon first, just in a knot, not a bow, because I want to kind of see the placement of the ribbon before I do the cupcake. And when I tie, I kind of just, so I'm right-handed, I need to put one finger there, and then bring the ribbon around and fold it, fold it over itself. That kind of holds it. If you need to, you could, I didn't even get that right. I feel like I had two left hands while I was tying that. You can put a glue dot right there to hold it in place if you need to. That's better. All right, I'm just going to cut the edges off to make it pretty. And now we need to do our stamping. I'm going to go ahead and leave this open because if I closed it, the ribbon might bunch it up in there a little bit. So this one we need our cupcake icing, and we need our liner. We need a greeting. This one I'm going to make again say sweet wishes, like the sample. And then I also need the little cake inside. When I did the cupcake liner, I did stamp off once just so it was a little bit lighter. I'm going to start with that in soft suede. I'm going to stamp it off. And then that part's done. Now we need our cake, and I'm also going to use soft suede for this, but I'm not going to stamp off. Just so the cake looks a little bit darker than the liner does. And then I used Flirty Flamingo for the cupcake. And then I also need Coastal Cabana for that cute little pick there. So I'll ink up my icing. If you were making a cupcake, what would be your favorite color of icing? I think I probably would choose pink. Maybe pink with sprinkles. And then we just need Coastal Cabana. For the pick in the side. And I guess too we could add some little sprinkles on there. Let's do that for this one. We'll add some sprinkles. Because cupcakes should probably have some sprinkles on them. Alright, we'll add some Coastal Cabana sprinkles. There we go. Looks good enough to eat. Now we can fold this card over and we need to put our greeting. I'm going to use Memento Black for that part. And I just want to put it off to the left a little bit to kind of offset the cupcake on the right. And I always like to hold my photopolymers down just a little minute to make sure all of the ink gets off. You can't really rock a photopolymer stamp set unless you're pushing extremely hard. So I try to do that just to make sure all the ink gets off of the stamp there. So here's the two cards. The only other thing we could do if we wanted to is add a few little gemstones here, rhinestones, or on the next card we are going to add some of these. These are in the annual catalog and they're super sparkly. They're glitter enamel dots. And I think since we have them out, let's just go ahead and add some. I'll get my piercing tool. Let's add a few over here. They're very super glittery. They're so beautiful. If you could see them in person, you would know that. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I'll bring them up here. Maybe you can see them. They come in Gorgeous Grape, and I believe this is Melon Mambo, Lemon Lime Twist, and Coastal Cabana. So later on, I'll add the other little embellishments on that one too. So that is card number 2. And the last card is this one. We're going to make it in Highland Heather today instead of, this one is in Melon Mambo. So I just wanted to make it a little bit different. So let me gather my supplies for this one. All right. We'll we'll set that one aside. We're going to start with a piece of Highland Heather cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to fold that over. We also need a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White, which is here. We're going to need a piece of 3 inches by 4 inches of Highland Heather, or whatever color is coordinating with your base. Here I used Melon Mambo. Then we need a piece of Whisper White cut at 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then we need a 1 inch by about 3 inches for our greeting. So if you'll give me a moment to get all of the stamps ready here, we'll go ahead and stamp this one out. Sprinkled with Love. I just love this stamp set. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, I think that you could use this for a guy card or a girl card. I think it would be good for either of those. So I think I'm all set. You want to have a piece of scrap paper, and we're going to use the sprinkles, and I think I'm going to use Highland Heather. I was thinking about using Gorgeous Grape, but I think I'm just going to use the lighter one. And you just want to randomly, like very randomly, just stamp a bunch of sprinkles all over the card. And it doesn't matter if they cross over each other. If you like a lot of sprinkles, then put a lot of sprinkles. I laugh because when my kids were little, they would go to Grandma's house, and she always had a cupboard full of sprinkles, and they would put tons of sprinkles on their ice cream. Sometimes I think maybe they had more sprinkles than ice cream. We're going to go ahead and put this piece on because we're not doing any more stamping to it. And that piece is done. So now we need our piece of 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 white, and that's where we're going to do this stamping. The cupcake is a little stretched out here in case you couldn't see that. In between, that way it just looks like it's a little more double-decker. I'm not going to stamp off the cupcake liner this time because you won't be able to see the chocolate cake, so it won't matter. And then I'm going to use my greeting along with the Memento black ink. Stamp that right in the center. And then I want to cut a couple banners on the end. And again, right up the center. This one may end up being a little bit long, but I think that will still be okay. Alright, so I have this piece. The reason I wanted to do this piece first is because I kind of need it to guess where the cupcake needs to go. So I'm getting my Flirty Flamingo ink. I'm going to kind of set this here. I'm not going to glue it down. I'm going to just set it here. I'm going to ink up my icing. And then I don't want to stamp on top of that, but I'm just kind of getting an idea of where I need to stamp. So then I'm going to move this and stamp down. And then we're done with that ink. I am going to put, of course, some sprinkles on top. And I'm going to do that in Highland Heather. And then I'll put our little heart pick on here as well. And then we can go ahead and assemble. So this piece can go right, this piece is going to need some dimensionals. So let's start here. Let's put this piece down over our cupcake. And I wanted to have as much of my cupcake showing as possible, so you can kind of see the icing and then the edge disappears. So that's where I put this piece here. This is going to attach to the Highland Heather with dimensionals. Again, I'll put one in the center just to hold it up. And then we'll use our adhesive to put this in the center of our sprinkled up card. Now I did want to give it just a little more pizzazz because that's who I am. If this is enough glimmer and shine for you, then that's okay, but I like glitter. I'm not gaudy glitter, but I do like glitter. So I'm going to use some more of these enamel dots in the Gorgeous Grape. And just put a few on here to sparkle it up a little. So now we have one in grape and in melon mambo. And you could also do the same card in Coastal Cabana if you wanted to make it more for a man, or you could use lemon lime twist. There are lots of options because everyone loves cupcakes. So those are the 3 cards for today. Those went pretty quickly, huh? So we'll just put the cards out here once again for you to see. And as I said, if you make a purchase through my online store of $30 or more, I will send you all of the materials to make these, including the enamel dots and the ribbon and the cardstock. You will need to have a stamp set to be able to stamp your own images. But if you place a $50 order, you can get this stamp set for free. And it's called Hello Cupcake. And you don't want to miss out because you can stamp lots of fun things. I'm going to share some more ideas later this week. This is the host code over at my store, stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net. And I would like to thank you for stopping by today. If you would you hit the share button for me? That just gets my video out to other people so that they can enjoy it as well. I would really appreciate that. And I am going to be putting some more samples out with this stamp set this week. And I hope that you enjoy them, and I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration. We'll see you again next week at 4 o'clock right here at Stamp It with Debbie. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a great rest of your week.